and Google comes on live and prevents me from making a very silly jingle go on for too long. It's Sam and Bill and Brent, and we are in the Martin Fowler Scrum. And yes, my brain is in gear, so I will go with updating that I have mainly been working on the Anthony Powell Society paid project, and frustratingly, LibreOffice, crashed horribly on my PC, and as a result, I lost yesterday's work, which was frustrating. But I have managed. I mean, I still remembered like the things I'd learned about how to get LibreOffice to work, and I was able to reconstruct that work fairly quickly on the Mac. Yes, yeah. So that's under control, and I've now sent that work off to the client. And I was just going to show you I've got here, if I can find it very quickly, the interface mockups. Yes, here they are. So I don't know if you're familiar with LibreOffice. It's that open source version of kind of like Microsoft Office. And is
it same as OpenOffice?
Yes, it is. I think it's Apache OpenOffice, LibreOffice. They seem to be the same thing.
Okay.
So I'm using LibreOffice Base to build the forms that work against, some databases that sort of just look like spreadsheets really, but they do have relations and so on. So it's a sort of blast from the past. This is
I used to do this in Access many years ago.
Yeah. But myself a long time ago. This particular charity is very old school, and they just want a single thing that will just like work on their one computer and so on. So that's kind of interesting. That's what mainly I've been working on. Did I do anything else this morning? Not really. Yesterday we had the website one meeting, which is good. We were all there. Some of us were there. Am I blocked on things? I'm preparing for the deep learning mob, which is coming up at the top of the hour. That is, I'll be not as prepared as I want to be, but I can't do too much about that. We're onboarding a new marketing intern, which is lovely. We are. Oh gosh, and then the Google. This is the thing with Google Calendar is it keeps on. It's great, but then if I have it open in a tab, it like pops up and like suddenly all the windows on my machine go crazy.
You can turn that off.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea actually. It's from the funny is it's useful sometimes and not others. So I did spend actually after the website one meeting yesterday was a fair amount of time. I've turned off the custom errors on website one. We sort of identified that like these 500 error issues are quite a problem, so I did spend quite a lot of time on that, making some investigative progress. We've got the local support meeting later today, which is at the later time. I should stop babbling, really. I'm not making much sense. Brent, how are things with you?
Yeah, so I've slowly working through the I think it's chapter 8 lectures for the MOOC.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just my lack of concentration at the moment, but I'm just not getting the video lectures. I have to keep watching them. So I may take a rest from it for a few days because I think it might just be the fact that I'm struggling to concentrate. Apart from that, we had the local support meeting yesterday evening, which was really good. It was myself, obviously, it was Federico and the two Nicks, and we managed to get a C9 instance up and running. And we basically went through the instructions on the local support repo, and everything worked as planned. So that was wonderful. Good. And we started playing around with some useful ways of looking at the cucumber tests with the HTML output and stuff. Today, I'm hoping to have a pairing session with Stamatios.
Oh yeah.
To look at the click-throughs on the embedded map PR.
Right.
And then yes, I've got the local support meeting this afternoon as well. But yeah, no blockers at the moment.
Good show. Well done. Excellent. Related to that, I went through setting up on C9 the local support thing yesterday with a pairing trialist from Turkey. The C9 instance you created, has it been added to the Agile Ventures team?
It has, yes.
Fantastic. Yes. What I was very pleased to see yesterday with the Turkish person was that they didn't need a credit card to get set up with everything, so that was wonderful. But sometimes that's a blocker for people. Thank you, Brent. Bill, how are things going with you?
I've carried on with various coursework that I'm working on. I've also that minor issue with the text on the website one. I've put in the pull request.
Wonderful.
I see that's already failed on Semaphore. With some sort of intermittent JavaScript error. I'm not
Very
quite
possibly
related to.
Yes.
But no, that was my first pull request, so I was pleased until I saw it fail.
Well, it's not a reflect. The failure is a reflection of our process rather than you. So you should.
Well, that's how I'm taking it.
Cool.
No, I was pleased. My first contribution.
Yeah, fantastic.
Many more.
Yeah. Big stuff. We can have a look at that. Yeah, great. Well, let's. I think that's then. Thank you, Bill. That's then our Scrum, unless there's anything else that we need to sort out. Feels like there's a lot going on. I guess that the big things I'm supposed to be doing. I've got to finish the report for the NHS Wiki and also review a monthly report for the trustees. So I've got these reports to do, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get them done. But there we go. But yeah, far more exciting is Bill's pull request, which we could just have a look at. Yeah, so this is, we've got, we're starting to use the stand-up lead system for the marketing meetings, because we've been having trouble finding a time when we can actually all talk to each other. But yeah, so we can have a look at the file changes there. Yes, it's this trivial thing that they want it to be the bot. So that looks completely perfect to me. Bill, well done. Let's have a look at what's happened with the semaphore thing. And this is a real drag on our process, because obviously it's a bit of a down of people think, oh, I've submitted my first pull request. Oh, there's something broken. Let's go and have a look. I would love to be able to see what it is there. So we've got randomly documents feature, and it's been run for a second time. We've got a whole, and this is irritation at not you, Bill, but at our system. I mean, we've kind of got this. See here, this documents feature here failed on the first try, and we have a system here because these. I mean, I've seen this so many times. It's an intermittent JavaScript fail. Usually, running a second time locally on your development machine will just make that. If it did fail on the development machine, will make it pass fine. Here, even running for the second time, and it's basically this Mercury editor modal seems particularly sensitive. It's like popping up a whole JavaScript modal thing, and then it's like not finding that, what have you. So here, I could just imagine what I would tend to do is just click rebuild this revision, which one needs admin access to do. I would personally, it's like this. People are so security conscious about things that, I would just all of our distributed team to be able to restart the builds. But anyway, so if you're interested in getting more involved in the DevOps side of things, Bill, then I'm very happy to try and give you more powers there.
Certainly something in the future, but at the moment, we're trying to learn Cucumber and Rails.
No rush at all. Yes, indeed.
I mean,
go on.
So I was going to say, this is just running on is it the staging server, or it's not the real server, is it?
No. So what happens here with Semaphore is that it checks out a completely fresh container, not even the staging server, but staging server. So what Semaphore and Travis and Circle CI and these CI people provide is a layer over Amazon or EC2 probably, or but who knows, whatever. There's the cheapest hosting service or infrastructure as a service underneath. And as soon as the pull request comes in, what they do is they spin up a completely new virtual box, and then they install the entire app from scratch, and run all the database migrations, and then run all of the tests. And the output we get here, and then once it's all done, that virtual machine gets thrown away and it's gone. So it's sort of a wonderful kind of fresh. There's pretty much no chance that that stuff hanging around on the previous settings, this, that, and the other, are going to affect whether this passes or fails at all. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. But I mean, I've run all the tests on my system here over the last few days, 3 or 4 times, and it fails every single time. When I look on there, it actually passes sometimes.
Yes.
These intermittent tests are very intermittent.
They are. I mean, and they're a real drag on the project, and we have burned many hours trying to make them less intermittent. And it's got to the point where you kind of say, after having spent 20 or 30 hours trying to fix them, you kind of just sort of put up with them for a bit, and then we add things like this second repeat run, which tries to kind of get around them. Obviously, doesn't always get around them, and so on. So it's a drain on the project, and like so many things in programming, you can identify something that is a drain, and you could say, yeah, if we could fix this, we would save X many hours over the next year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. But then it's like, actually, how many hours will it take to solve the problem? And so, sometimes you feel excited and motivated. I definitely feel like it will be a step in the right direction if we can complete. There's another pull request here, which is a start at replacing the Mercury editor with this Medium editor. And Matt's no longer. I think he's not going to contribute anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is one bit of work I want to try and pick up, and but the help always very much appreciated. But yeah, your pull request, I think that will get as soon as I can get the green thing done, I'll get that merged in, and that will go into and get out into production.
Sorry, what's the Mercury editor?
The Mercury editor is what you see is what you get kind of built-in editor in the website 1 in the Agile Ventures site. So that documents feature, the failure thing that we were seeing.
All right.
Here we go. Let's go and find. So all of the, for better or for worse, I mean, because a lot of people prefer to have their documentation on GitHub. All of the projects in website 1 have a documents feature, so they can have documents associated with them, and then those documents can be edited in the site in a sort of wiki form.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, I remember seeing that now.
And so then it loads this. You see this toolbar here. This is the Mercury editor, and it's a Rails plugin that provides a graphical editing thing, and you can then select things and do. But so it has these modal things, right? And so some of those feature tests are trying to check that when you click on, do kind of fairly complex testing things like this, it's trying to check that the Mercury editor is still working, and that the right bits of text appear here in the interface.
Okay.
And just seems to be particularly prone to these issues. Now we might argue that actually, like, the Mercury editor as a plugin should just work, and it should have its own tests. And maybe we don't want to have acceptance tests that it's working. I mean, it gets to the point where, for the trouble that it's caused, if we look back, it may the sensible step maybe just delete those tests that repeatedly fail, because no one's ever really reported problems with it working. It sort of does the right stuff, but it's also go on.
I was going to say, that people actually use it.
I mean, it does get used to an extent. So I personally use it to maintain things. We did have it so that all of the root elements were editable, but we turned that off because, I mean, it's more a convenience. I'd say I'm probably the majority user of it, although some other people will go in and edit the documents associated with their projects. The bigger meta question is this actually important functionality for Agile Ventures to be providing, given that GitHub has this very reliable wiki system or documentations within their repos? Maybe we would be incurring less maintenance debt if we had fewer features in the site, if that makes
that makes sense, because that's exactly what I was thinking, funnily enough.
Right. Yeah.
I was just thinking. I'm just wondering if, when the project first started, were people just simply uploading documents already completed that they obviously created locally?
No. I mean, I think when the whole website 1 was built, I mean, there was the idea that there would be projects, and so this wiki functionality was added, and a lot of the work was put into it. And I think we've got certain things available here that are not available out of the box in GitHub wikis, like being able to embed videos. And I think that's, there's like there was, I think, a vision of providing, the things, all the things that would be needed to allow a team of distributed people to collaborate on a project, and and so on and so forth. I think the difficulty has been that it was a lot of volunteers contributing a lot of different bits and pieces. We happened to choose this Mercury editor, which is subsequently, that was like Rails 3 at the time. The Mercury editor itself is now not being maintained. And so it's not compatible with Rails 5. And so it's also blocking our upgrade path. There's this it's a big challenge, I think, in these sort of distributed open source projects, is people can come in with a lot of enthusiasm and ideas and so on. And that's great. You want to harness that enthusiasm and those ideas and let people try things out. The difficulty is then in the long run, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, the people who originally created all the stuff have, oh, that was a great learning experience, and they've moved on.
Yeah.
And then in order to keep the site working and maintained and up to date, the more features that you add, the more different things that go in there, the bigger the maintenance burden on whoever's left behind to sort of keep it ticking over. So, I mean, we used to have a whole articles system in here that I think, that originally the site was trying to be everything to all people, and something that I've tried to do since taking over as project manager is to try and like gradually reduce the number of features and things that it does. But there you go.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, I don't think there's really much else to add about that, is there?
No. Well, I'm always happy to discuss it. I think we're definitely done for the Scrum. I don't think there's anything else that we need to sort out. I should go off and get prepared for the deep learning more. But I think that's the big. It sort of comes back to the very root of Agile Ventures, is how can we structure a distributed volunteer team to produce something that delivers lasting value. There's lots and lots of considerations. It's a challenging nut that we haven't cracked yet, but we keep on trying.
It just strikes me that
there's a typo on that screen. I've just noticed that the client won't like. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So go on, Bill. Bill, what strikes you?
I was going to say, it just strikes me that the project details, it seems we've got them in 2 different locations. So
yes.
There's some duplication. I would
absolutely, and that's a real that's a challenge. Because what we have, I think, for a lot of projects there's data here in the main site that's out of date and is duplicating potentially what's in the GitHub, and it sort of depends on your model of how does one think that people come across Agile Ventures projects. Do they come across them by reading about the documentation in the site, or do they come across them through GitHub, having browsed just in GitHub and found them, or what have you? I had this idea that, I mean, maybe the GitHub documents should be the one source of truth, for example, and that rather than having our own framework here for editing documents and this, that, and the other, what the site should do is reach out to GitHub and just pull the documentation. Like if people created a certain page in their wiki or in the repo that was called, project overview, and that got automatically pulled into here, that would be a way of keeping the 2 things in sync. And you want sort of you want a single source of truth for project documentation, I think. Again, setting up that solution then requires effort and energy and people motivated and excited about doing it. But you're involved. I mean, ideas about fixes and ways to make the whole thing make more sense and work better and be more accessible, very much appreciated. And of course, any little pull requests that you can put in, or even bigger ones as you're gaining confidence, very happy to help you get more involved.
Okay. No, that's good, because it's exactly what I want to do.
All right, nice one. Okay, well, I'm going to go make a cup of tea and get my
go walk the dog.
Good stuff. Well, Billy, you're saying you're in London somewhere, are you?
Yeah, southwest London.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in North. Say again.
Colliers Wood, between Tooting and Wimbledon.
Oh right. Yeah, I'm in Northwest in Harrow.
All right.
There you go. Good stuff. Oh well, enjoy walking. Brent also. I will go and like look forlornly through my window at some of the green stuff outside because I feel so pressured to prepare for this next thing. Calm down, Sam. Calm down. Sorry. Yes, well, enjoy walking the dog. I will go and enjoy my bagel and tea. Bagel with peanut butter and cucumber. It's the food of the gods, I tell you. I'll see you both real soon.
Yeah.
All right,
Cheers.
thanks very much, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.